Cruz Azul Fútbol Club, AC, known simply as Cruz Azul, is a Mexican professional football club based in Mexico City, Mexico. After which initially was based in Ciudad Cooperativa Cruz Azul in the Mexican state of Hidalgo. Cruz Azul plays in the Mexican Primera División and its home venue is the Estadio Azul, located in the southwestern part of Mexico City in the Colonia Ciudad de los Deportes, next to the Nápoles neighborhood. The team moved there in 1996, after playing for many seasons at the Estadio Azteca. Its headquarters are in La Noria, a suburb located in the southern part of Mexico City in Xochimilco. They have been the Primera División champions 8 times and trail only Toluca with 10, Club América Rica with 11, and Guadalajara with 11. Cruz Azul was also the first Mexican or CONCACAF team to reach the final of the Copa Libertadores when they lost on penalties to Argentine football giants Boca Juniors. The club's jerseys and sportswear are provided by Under Armour. Cruz Azul is ranked 92nd in the IFFHS rankings of January 8 and is the third top-ranked team among CONCACAF and Mexico. Cruz Azul is the most successful club in CONCACAF Champions League, with 6 titles and is, according to several polls published, the third most popular team in Mexico. History. Cruz Azul was founded under the name of Club Deportivo Cruz Azul as an amateur team on May 22, 1927. The founders were the workers of the cement maker, Cemento Cruz Azul, and Macario Acosta, and the team used to play in the town of Aʻsul, Hidalgo. Cemento Cruz Azul is still a sponsor of the club, along with Under Armour and Scotiabank. Guillermo Alvarez Marcia and Carlos Garca copywriters were the main figures behind the creation effort and the quick success of the team, which frequently represented the state of Hidalgo in national amateur tournaments. From 1927 to 1960, the amateur team played many times in Mexico City against the reserve squads of established professional teams such as Club Aguilatas, Necaxa, Atlante FC, Asturias FC and Club Deportivo Marte. Considering the increasing success of the team, the new administration of the cement company decided in 1960 to build a stadium in Aʻsul, the Estadio Diciembre, and officially registered the team on the Professional Ascent Division, the Segunda División for the 1960-61 season. By 1964, under the Hungarian coach Jorge Marek, the team won the Segunda División championship, earning the right to play the following season in the highest level of professional football in Mexico, the Primera División. That first season ended with an 8th place finish and increased hopes for the future. Just 4 years later, Cruz Azul won its first league tournament, under coach Roel Cárdenas. Cruz Azul became the most successful Mexican team of the 1970s, winning the league tournament 6 times between 1970 and 1980, 4 of them under Cárdenas, and the last 2 with Ignacio Trells at the helm. Such dominance earned them the nickname La Máquina Celeste, which is still used as the unofficial nickname of the team. 1997 brought the team its 8th and most recent championship during the Invino 1997 tournament under coach Luis Fernando Tena, beating Leeuwarden by a score of 2-1. Cruz Azul won in the last minute in a penalty kick scored by Carlos Hermosillo. This was the youngest team to win 8 championships in 40 years. In 2008, Cruz Azul played the 3 final matches. The first was against Club América Rica in the Interliga, where they lost in penalties. Another was against Santos Laguna in the final of the 2008 Clausura. The last match was against Deportivo Toluca FC, which they lost in penalties. In April 2012, Cruz Azul changed their official name from Club Deportivo, Social y Cultural Cruz Azul, AC, to simply Cruz Azul Fútbol Club, AC. After spending several years on ESPN2 in Mexico and Telemundo in the United States, Cruz Azul returned to Televisa and Univision in those countries in the fall of 2013. The championships, just 5 years after it ascended to the first division, Cruz Azul won its first league championship in a series of 8, mostly from the mid-1970s. First championship, date, February 2, 1969, Cruz Azul assured the general leadership and with it to obtain their first title, after defeating Liquidados as visitor. Fernando Bustos, Antonio Mungua and an own goal from Leon, Efrain Loza. Second championship, date, October 11, 1970. After being the runner-up last season, Cruz Azul was able to be awarded with the title again by winning the final round of this tournament, which was divided into two parts. In the first phase was able to classify as a third place in the pairs crowned after the final day to defeat Pachuca on the Ciudad Cooperativa Cruz Azul on Hidalgo State, by 2-0. For the Celestial them only enough to secure the tie crown, but finally won the game to do it with class. The goals were set by Octavio Mejia ±0 Pat and Rafael Hernandez. Third championship, date, July 9, 1972. In the second tournament, where the champion is defined by round matches, Cruz Azul won its third crown since winning the final who would become his fiercest rival, the Club Arma Copyright Rica. This was the first season of the club playing at home in the Azteca Stadium, where for the first time using foreign elements in the template. Cruz Azul ended up as leader of the competition faced in the semi-finals round of Guadalajara, although lost in the return encounter. Azteca 1-0. Turned in the Jalisco Stadium 2-0 to reach the final. By the fact that América had defined its semi-final series against Monterrey extra to a third party, by mutual agreement of the two finalists were decided to perform one final game. Despite having a minority of fans, Cruz Azul won overwhelming Azul Crema the table by a devastating 4-1. Following this final, was conceived a strong rivalry between the two squads, which led the Mexican Youth Classic match. The goals were converted by Blue Hector Pulido, Cesario Victorino and Octavio Mejia ±0. The final would be a watershed in the history of cement, since beginning the golden age of the club. Fourth championship, date, June 19, 1973. Cruz Azul gets two championships in a row, again finishing as the overall leader, with the semi-finals to rival Atlas. Completed in the first leg at the Jalisco Stadium's Celestial bandwagon by 3-2, in turn repeat the victory by 1-0. It should be noted that this match would be suspended just 35 minutes of the game because of the Atlas 5 players were ejected. The final against Leon would be highly disputed, as it would have to define a third party in the Cuauhtémoc Stadium in Puebla. The way ended with a tie at 1 and round match without goals, but the third game ended in a tie again with a goal in regular time. Finally, in overtime when thanks to a Cruz Azul's own goal Tarzan Davino. The scorers were carried blue Javier Guzman and the own goal by Jorge Davino. Fifth championship, date, May 19, 1974. With this title Cruz Azul achieves 3 championships in a row, strongly throughout the regular season in league. For a change, it ends up as leader of the regular competition and eliminated in the semi-finals Puebla, although rescued a draw at home to 1 in the back appalled at the Cruz Azul of the Strip with severe wins 6-1. At the end facing the junior team Club Atla Copyright Tico Aspar ±0, who manages to defeat the Blue in game trip for 2-1. But in return, the machine clearly won by 3-0 for crowns. Both games were held on the Azteca Stadium. The final goal of the game were given by Horacio La Cubed Pez Salgado, Fernando Bustos and Ignacio Flores. Sixth championship, date, June 30, 1979. After a waiting period of 4 years, Cruz Azul was back to the league champions. Finishing as overall leader, ranks in the postseason round of Group Round Robin, his path to win the grand final. At this stage of the league faced América, Toluca and Atla Copyright Tico Potosino to classify the final against the Pumas UNAM. In the way of Pumas Stadium, was a tie without goals, and in turn in the Cruz Azul Azteca wins by 2-0 for their 6th league title. The annotations were made by Carlos Jara Seguya and Javier La Cubed Pez Malo. 7th championship, date, July 13, 1980. With this new 2 titles in succession, Cruz Azul close a glorious era in its short history then. This time, classified as second place overall, and within the group stage of cement pre-finalist to the head table to be on the Coyotes in Niza. Tampico and Atlante to enter the fight for the title against the UANL Tigres. On the first match, a goal scored by a free kick, by Rodolfo Montoya, at the last minute of the match, gave Cruz Azul a win as visitors. Finally, this difference was that both the balance tilted in favor of the machine, because at the turn of the Azteca Stadium ended the scoring with a thrilling tie at 3 annotations. In fact, Cruz Azul would have an advantage of 3-0, but was hit by the North, which, however, was a step away from forcing extra time. The entries in this match were given by Adrian Camacho and Rodolfo Montoya. 8th Championship, date, December 7, 1997. Cruz Azul lived a long way to win another league title, and he arrived 17 years after the third short tournament. Finished as the second site and the league office in the quarter-finals Atlas, and in the semi-final at Atlante, to face León in a highly contested final round. In the return game in Estadio Azul, the machine takes the advantage with a penalty kick scored by Benjamin Galindo. In the second leg, played at the Nou Camp, the Emerald team achieves a draw on the combined result 1-1 by Michel Espinoza, forcing extra time period. Already in extra time, the move ultimately will be remembered by a penalty kick for an aggressive foul, committed by León goalkeeper Angel David Comitso in the face of Carlos Hermosillo, who was playing even though he had infiltrated 2 fractured ribs. The penalty was kicked by the very Hermosillo, at the minute 100, and scores, and with the approach of golden goal, Cruz Azul wins its 8th championship. Copa Libertadores 2001. In 2001, Cruz Azul was invited to a tournament between some Mexican and Venezuelan teams. The 2 best teams of this tournament earned the right to play in the Copa Libertadores, a tournament of all the best teams of South America. Cruz Azul qualified for the Copa Libertadores in its first try, and reached the final match. Cruz Azul was placed in Group 7 along with teams such as Sao Caetano, Defensa Sporting, and Olmedo. Cruz Azul finished as leader of the group with 13 points. In the round of 16, Cruz Azul faced Cerro Porteño +/-0. The first leg was played in Asuncion and Cruz Azul lost 2-1. The second leg was played in Mexico and Cruz Azul won the game 3-1. The aggregate score was 4-3 in favor of Cruz Azul and they moved on to the quarter-finals. In the quarter-finals, Cruz Azul faced CA River Plate of Argentina. The first leg of the match was played in Buenos Aires and ended in a 0-0 draw. The second leg was played in Mexico and Cruz Azul won 3-0. Cruz Azul was having a great run and played Rosario Central in the semi-finals. The first leg was played in Mexico and Cruz Azul won the game 2-0. The second leg was played in Rosario in a very exciting match which ended in a 3-3 draw in favor of Cruz Azul due to the 2-0 victory in the first leg. In the final match, Cruz Azul played against the Argentinian club Boca Juniors. Cruz Azul lost at home the first leg 1-0, but came back to win the second leg with the same score, at Boca's Stadium La Bombonera with Paco Palencia scoring the goal. Until then, no team had ever won a Copa Libertadores final match there. After the overtime due to the tie, the championship was decided by penalty kicks, where the more experienced Boca Juniors prevailed. Still, Cruz Azul surprised everybody with the unprecedented feat of reaching the final on their first try by defeating established Argentinian teams such as Rosario Central and CA River Plate. 2006 to 2007, in the 2006 Apertura, the team started off great but in the middle of the season, they had a hard time adding points on the board. Cruz Azul recovered and finished the regular season as the points leader. They have not won a title since the championship they won against León in 1997. For the Apertura 2006, Cruz Azul made it to the quarter-finals and faced Chivas in the Estadio Jalisco. In the first leg, Cruz Azul played a very poor game and lost 2-0. On November 25, 2006, Cruz Azul played the second leg at Estadio Azul and played a brilliant game. Cruz Azul started off strong and put Chivas keeper Oswaldo Sanchez to the test on many occasions. In the middle of the first half, defender Salvador Carmona pushed a Chivas player in the penalty area and cost Cruz Azul a penalty. Ramón Den Morales had no problem and put the score 1-0 in favor of Chivas in the 39th minute. Cruz Azul kept creating opportunities, and at the end of the first half, copyright Zar Delgado made a great play that Richard Noah ± finished with a goal to tie the game right before half-time in the 45th minute. In the second half, Chivas scored thanks to Ramón Den Morales again to put the score 2-1 in favor of Chivas. Cruz Azul did not give up and Miguel Sabah tied the game 2-2 in the 62nd minute. Cruz Azul played a great game and ended up tying the game 2-2 but losing 4-2 on aggregate. In the 2007 Clausura the team had a great start, finishing among the first 8 teams in the league that went to playoffs. The team had a great quarter-final series against the Tecos of the Universidad Autónoma Norma de Guadalajara, thanks to 2 magnificent goals from striker Richard Noah ± and moved to semi-finals against Pachuca FC, the top team in the league. Pachuca beat Cruz Azul in the Estadio Azul in the first leg of the series with a strong 3-1. Cruz Azul still had a chance to overcome the adverse score, but on that same evening, the Court of Arbitration for Sport communicated that team captain Salvador Carmona was declared ineligible with immediate and lifetime effect, because of a repeated doping indiscipline that occurred back in January 2006. The sanction was dated May 18, 2007, the very day of the first match against Pachuca. Arguing that player Salvador Carmona did play on that day for Cruz Azul, the Mexican Soccer Federation, also known as Federación Mexicana de Fútbol, sanctioned Cruz Azul by suspending the team 1 game from competition, under the argument of aligning an ineligible player. Many legal arguments have been raised by both the player's lawyer and Cruz Azul, but the sanction stood and Cruz Azul lost its opportunity to overcome the 3-1 and go to the final series against América. Cruz Azul had one of the best season of their victory against Mexico. Clausura 2008. In the Clausura the team made a great tournament, finishing in second place. The team won 9 games, drew 4 times and lost only 4 times. In quarter-finals they played against Jaguars, losing 1-0 in the first leg and winning 2-1 in the second leg with goals of Pablo Zeballos and Miguel Sabah. They moved to semi-finals against San Luis. The first leg was played in San Luis and Cruz Azul won 0-1 with a goal of Miguel Sabah. In the second leg, Cruz Azul and San Luis played a formidable match that ended 1-1 with goals of Eduardo Caudit and Pablo Zeballos. In the final, Cruz Azul played against Santos Laguna, second place in the tournament. The first leg ended 1-2 with a victory for Santos, and in the second leg a 1-1 make Laguna team champions. Apertura 2008. In the Apertura the team had a good tournament, finishing in 5th place on the Mexican League. The team won 7 games, drew 5 times and lost only 5 times. In the quarter-finals they played against Pumas UNAM with a 0-0 scoreline in the first leg in the Estadio Azul, and won 3-1 in the second leg, in the Estadio Olímpico Universitario 1968, leaving Pumas on the way. They moved to semi-finals against Atlante. The first leg was played in Mexico City, and Cruz Azul won 3-1. In the second leg, Cruz Azul and Atlante played a regular match in Cancún, Quintana Roo, that ended 1-1, resulting in Cruz Azul reaching the final for the second time in a row in 2008. In the final, Cruz Azul played against Toluca, both teams tied on winning Mexican titles. The first leg played in Mexico City, and ended with a dramatic 0-2 with a victory for visitors, Toluca, and in the second leg, which was played at Estadio Nemesio Diaz, Cruz Azul won 0-2, making the tie on aggregate 2-2. As the match was tied, they played extra time, and the draw continued until going to the penalty shootout, where Toluca won 7-6 over Cruz Azul. Alejandro Vila was the Cruz Azul villain, because he failed the last penalty shootout. Another incident before the match went to extra time, was a clear foul suffered by Villaluz on the goal area. The Toluca player José Manuel Cruz Alta crashed with a Cruz Azul player, making him unconscious, but the referee didn't mark the foul. Even though the Cruz Azul player was knocked out, he didn't even take a red card on the Toluca player. This made the Toluca team becoming champions, winning their 9th Mexican title, becoming the 3rd most successful of Mexican title-winning teams. Clausura 2009. In the Clausura 2009, the team had the worst tournament in club history en route to a last-place finish. They accumulated just 13 points from a possible 51. The team won only 2 games, drew 7 times and lost 8 times. The club scored 26 goals, but conceded 33, for a total goal difference of -7. The club did not qualify for the playoffs, or Liga. The club sacked their manager Benjamin Galindo with 1 game left in the Clausura. He was replaced for the remainder of the season by Robert Siboldi, who was then coaching Cruz Azul's affiliate in Hidalgo. Cruz Azul beat UNAM 5-0. CONCACAF Champions League 08/09. On the CONCACAF Champions League 08/09, the team made a good tournament. On the first stage ended second on the Group A, qualifying to the final stage of playoffs, defeating on the quarterfinals, the Mexican team of Pumas UNAM, by 2-0, and on the semi-final round, they played against the Puerto Rico team of Islanders, by penalty shootout at Mexico City. On the final, against another Mexican team, Club Atlante, they had the chance to win their 6th CONCACAF championship, but they lost the first game 0-2, then on Atlante's home they tied 0-0, losing the CONCACAF Champions League 08/09 title, and also losing the opportunity to participate on the FIFA World Club Cup 2009, on Abu Dhabi, UAE. Apertura 2009. In the Apertura 2009, the team had signed Javier Cambranes to manage the team, and signed several players, such as the best goalkeeper on the previous Mexican tournament, Jose de Jesus Corona, the Derby County striker, Emmanuel Tito Villa, Ramon Nuar ±, Emilio Hernandez, and the team successfully ended on the 2nd place of the regular season. They made 33 points out of 51 possibles, winning 11 games of 17 played, without any game tied, and 6 games lost. They scored a total of 35 goals, and received only 19, for a goal difference of +16, and Emmanuel Tito Villa was the top scorer of the tournament with 17 goals. The team qualified for the playoffs, and played against Puebla FC. On the quarterfinals, they beat Puebla, and on the semi-final leg, he played against Monagas Moralaya, and they won, and went to the final. Once again, for the 3rd time in 4 tournaments in a row, they faced Monterrey FC, but they lost the final, as once again the team lost another final, remaining with just 8 league titles and 8 finals lost, making the Cruz Azul team the only one who has played 16 finals on Mexican tournament, but lost half. 2009 A Euro 10 CONCACAF Champions League. In the 2009 A Euro 10 CONCACAF Champions League, the team had a good tournament, finishing first in Group C and qualifying for the final stage of playoffs. In the quarterfinals, they defeated the Panamanian team of Arabanido, by 4-0, and then in the semi-final round, they played against the Mexican team of Universidad Nacional, by 5-1 at Mexico City. In the final, against another Mexican club, CF Pachuca, they had the chance to win their 6th CONCACAF championship, winning the first game 2-1, but losing in Pachuca's home at the last minute 1-0 by the away goals rule, thus losing the opportunity to participate on the 2010 FIFA Club World Cup in the UAE. Liga MX Clausura Copa 2013. During the season Cruz Azul showed a slow start with questioning over Memo Vaz's possible sacking. Cruz Azul regained confidence after beating Club América in Copa MX semi-finals and winning Copa MX final versus Atlante. After Cruz Azul won the Copa MX, their Liga MX performance improved and they were considered one of the contenders for the title due to a good streak. They would face bitter rivals Club América in what would be a historical final series of the Clásico Joven. Cruz Azul dominated the series in terms of score from minute 19 of the first leg up until minute 89 of the second leg. Cruz Azul was up 2-0 in aggregate when Club America made a miraculous comeback in the minute 89 and 93 of the second leg. Club America would go on to win in PKs. Players, First Team Squad, as of August 2013. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. For recent transfers, see List of Mexican football transfers Summer 2014. Reserved teams. Cruz Azul Hidalgo, reserve team that plays in the Segunda División then in the third level of the Mexican league system. Cruz Azul Lagunas, reserve team that plays in the Tercera División then in the fourth level of the Mexican league system. Cruz Azul de Blaen, reserve team that plays in the Tercera División then in the fourth level of the Mexican league system. Former players. Managerial history, crest. The club's crest has stayed relatively consistent since its foundation in the 1920s, with the blue cross in the middle surrounded by a red circle with the club's name. As years went by and titles were won, the crest was modified to proclaim Cruz Azul's achievements. Stars were added to the crest from 1972 to the actual crest used presently, which has 8. Shirt sponsors and manufacturers, honors, domestic, Mexican Primera División, 8. 1968-69, Mar Copyright Zico 1970, 1971-72, 1972-73, 1973-74, 1978-79, 1979-80, and Vino 1997, runners-up, 1969-70, 1980-81, 1986-87, 1988-89, 1994-95, and Vino 1999. Segunda División de Mar Copyright Zico, 1. 1963-64. Copa Mar Copyright Zico Copa MX, 3. 1968-69, 1996-97, Clausura 2013, runners-up, 1973-74, 1987-88. Campia Cubden de Campeones, 2. 1968-69, 1973-74, runners-up, 1972. International, CONCACAF Champions Cup/CONCACAF Champions League, 6. 1969, 1970, 1971, 1996, 1997, 2014, runners-up, 2009, 2010. Copa Libertadores, 0. Runners-up, 2001. Copa Interamericana, 0. Runners-up, 1972. Minor trophies, Copa Pachuca, 5. 1997, 1998, 2002, 2006, 2007, runners-up, 2000, 2005. 400 Monterrey Tournament Champion, 1. 1996. Friendly Championships, Teresa Herrera Trophy, 0. 4th place, 2000, runners-up, 2002, 3rd place, 2008. Copa 5 de Mayo, 1. 2004. Copa Panamericana 2007, Copa Cuauhtémoc, 1. 2008. Copa Aztecs, 1. 2009. Foursquare Champion Azteca, 81. 1981. Burgos Tournament Champion, 1. 1980. Almeria Tournament Champion, 1. 1979. Coaching staff, listed on the official website of Cruz Azul. Nicknames. Cruz Azul has a rich variety of nicknames over its history, listed chronologically. Cementeros as a result of affiliation with Cruz Azul Cement. The first name refers directly to the employees of the company, as the team originally was formed with them. Over the years, the concept is extended not only to those who worked in the cooperative, but the construction workers in general. Libras. When the team was promoted to the first division in the mid-1960s, the stock showed a style of great speed and physical deployment, which was used together with mostly white uniforms. For these characteristics, the fans compared to players of those years with the hairs which abound in the town. The nickname took hold, and to date still uses an anthropomorphic hair to represent Cruz Azul. Many fans believe that the mascot is a rabbit, but the board has officially declared that it is a hare. La Máquina, this nickname is fed by several sources of inspiration. First, was based on a rail out of the old Jaso toward Mexico City. As the team moved to the early 1970s Azteca Stadium and showed a spectacular football, dominant and effective, was combined with the image of a locomotive swept their opponents on the court. Cruz Azul, who baptized the nickname of the machine, was the chronicler Rogelio Angel Fernandez. Another possible source of inspiration could be the comparison of this team with the River Plate machine that existed in the late 1940s. The nickname of the machine derivatives from Celeste, blue, or machine, cement machine. The cheerleaders, the club has its official cheerleading club, which were included as part of the institution since 2004, since then, act as cheerleaders in the proceedings of the club in their home games before and at halftime. From its appearance of Los Celestes have formed part of the tradition of the club. And the only Mexican team that is as part of their group at their official cheerleaders. Popularity and rivalries. Popularity. Since its inception, the team had supporters, mainly workers of the cement. After the promoted at the first division in the 1960s, more people began to follow the team. In the 1970s, when the team managed 6 of their 8 titles, even more people joined the group of supporters of the team, until now that in this 21st century, according to various surveys, is the 3rd team with the most supporters in Mexico, behind the Club Guadalajara and Club Arma Copyright Rica respectively, above the Club UNAM. Popularity. Rivalries. National rivalries, main rivalry, versus Club Arma Copyright Rica Clásico Joven, records. Cruz Azul has the distinction of being the only Mexican football club to win the North American treble, winning the League, Mexican, and North American championships in 1997. It is the Mexican club with the most titles at international level. Mexican club with most titles in the Copa de Campeones de CONCACAF, with 6. Is the only team that lost 9 leagues finals. Holds the record for most consecutive wins in the history of the First Division of Mexico, 10 wins in the 1971-72 season. The Mexican team with the highest number of playoffs, counting rounds of reclassification. It is the first Mexican team in a final crown with a golden goal. Champion of the first edition of the 2007 Pan American Cup, defeating Boca Juniors by 3-1. It is the team that has played league final and lost, besides being the second most paradoxically end wins. It is the only team that thrashed in the finals Club Arma Copyright Rica to win the league title in the 1971-1972 season. It is one of the 3 teams in the history of the First Division of Mexico have been 3-time league. The other 2 teams are Club Arma Copyright Rica, who did a decade later, and the Club Deportivo Guadalajara. It is the youngest team to be champions and cup, reached only 5 years after his rise in the 1968-1969 season. It is the youngest team in making 7 league titles. Club statistics and records, professional era, seasons in Primera División Q10, 62, seasons in Second Division No Primera A4. Playoff for the title, 44, final for the title, 14, first place, 12, drops to Second Division No Primera A0, promotion to the First Divide, 1, final position more repeated, first a degree, best post in Primera División Q10, in long tournaments, first, in short tournaments, first. Worse as in Primera División Q10, in large tournaments, 18 a degree to 20 teams. 1989-90, in short tournaments, 18 a degree to 18 teams, Clausura 2009. Highest score Aki Avida, the national tournament, 8-2 versus Toros Neza. In international tournaments, 12-2 against the Leslie Verds in 1988 CONCACAF Champions Cup and 11-0 against the Seattle Sounders in the 1996 CONCACAF Champions Cup. Highest score Aceveda, the national tournament, 0-5 against Arma Copyright Rica. In international tournaments, 1-6 against the FAR copyright Knicks in the 2003 Copa Libertadores. Most points in Osasuna, in large tournaments, 57, in short tournaments, 40. Longest streak of games without Loinga, 19. Longest streak of games without losing at home, 47. Greater number of goals scored in Osasuna, in large tournaments, 91. In short tournaments, 41. Most wins in a season, 22. Season 1971 a Euro 72. Over the road wins in a season, 11. 1979 a Euro 80. More games without getting goal, 5. Season 1975 a Euro 76, and 1983 a Euro 84. Most consecutive wins, 10. 1971 a Euro 72. Most consecutive draws, 5. 1973 a Euro 74. More defeats, 6. Klauser a 2004. More draws in a season, 17. 1989 a Euro 90. More defeats in a season, 13. 1982 a Euro 83 and 1989 a Euro 90. Most consecutive games without a win, 11. 1965 a Euro 66. Less wins in a season, 2. Klauser a 2009. Less ties in a season, 0. Aperture 2009, least defeats in one season, 1, and Vino 1998, player with the most goals in a season, Carlos Hermosillo with 35 in 1994 a Euro 95, maximum winning titles, head coach, Raul Cardenas 10 titles, CONCACAF Champions Cup 1969, 1970 and 1971. Player, Fernando Bustos 10 titles, CONCACAF Champions Cup 1969, 1970 and 1971. Stadium. The team currently plays in aßul Stadium. The stadium is located in Mexico, DF. The Federal District owns Estadio Azul. Currently, Cruz Azul training facilities are located at Xochimilco. The team is planning construction of a new stadium, Nuevo Estadio Azul. Stadium. Top goal scorers. Active player Cruz Azul. Active player, tournament top scorers, Horacio La Cubed Pez Salgado 25 goals in 1974-75, Carlos Hermosillo 28 goals in 1993-94, Carlos Hermosillo 35 goals in 1994-95, Carlos Hermosillo 26 goals in 1995-96, Sebastián Abu 19 goals in Verano 2002, Emmanuel Villa 17 goals in Aperture 2009, references. External links. Official site, Primera División Cubden, Trofeo Teresa Herrera, esmas.com.